sometimes.
Gary.
Just Gary being Gary.
I thought that was a real cork. Can you put
That's
this back?
great.
That's great.
Oh, this is another one. I think it's cute. He, let's see, this one. I'll mark these heavy. Okay. Mother and Dad and Gary went up on Mountain Home today to pick blackcaps. They sat Gary on a big rock with a pail by a bush and told him to pick. Right after they left him, he threw his pail in the air and started running and screaming, "A rattlesnake's after me!" Well, they looked, and a little 3-inch lizard had crawled up on the rock and scared him half to death.
A rattlesnake?
They say I tend to exaggerate.
Now he thinks it's pretty funny, but at the time he was pretty serious.
That's good.
But you remember, Leonard would remember, maybe the rest of you don't know, but Gary had a little friend named Kay who lived next door to us, and they grew up together. Her mother died when she was, well, she had died by this time. By the time she was 6, her mother had died. And so her father brought her over a lot. They didn't live next door anymore, but he would bring her over to play with Gary and Mother to watch her and help take care of her.
And I've talked to her 3-4 times at the telephone.
What?
I've talked to her 3-4 times at the telephone about the time Gary moved over here. And she calls Gary and asked where he was, so I told her. And so Kay is still calling to find out how he's doing.
Really?
Well,
That's nice.
That's really neat.
Kay, what?
She still calls.
Oh, she still, yeah, she lives up toward Arundel, and she checks on Gary and calls him. They're still close friends. Well, she was the bridesmaid, the flower girl in our wedding, and so Mother was making that dress for her. Let's see. Kay came up today, and Mother showed her the material for her dress, and she just loved it. She said she's seen long dresses like that, but she didn't think she would ever have one. Mom is quite anxious to make it because Kay's mother always said she couldn't wait until she wore her first formal, and I'm glad it will be at our wedding. But I had some really other letters that were so much more story to them. And I can't find those. I think I took those out and hid them, or put them in a safe place. You know?
It's really safe.
But one of them was about, I can remember, one of them was about Kay staying overnight with us, and while I was there, and she and Gary were sleeping upstairs in the same bed, and they were so silly, but if we would sneak up the stairs and look in there, and they heard us coming, they'd pretend they were sound asleep. You know? And as soon as we left, they were giggling and having a good time again. Okay, this is about Gary's kite. Do you remember a kite you had?
Several of them. I don't know anything in particular. I had a box kite, and sometimes I had the regular store-bought one you see.
Yeah, it's right here. Gary said I should tell you about his kite. This is Dear Bing. Gary said I should tell you about his kite. He really had fun flying it today. He let it go out the full length of the string, and it was about 2 acres away when the wind died and it fell. Poor Gary. The string went down over the garage, 2 barns, and 6 fences. So we had to cut it off the kite and pack it home. It really is a good kite, though. Dad found it on his mail route one day. It was flying along loose and finally fell, so he brought it home for Gary.